On March the 11th, 1938, Austria existed as a sovereign independent nation. On March the 12th, less so. The annexation of Austria, also called the Anschluss, came about as a result of German troops crossing into the country before a month later a referendum was held to confirm it. But given that overnight a country literally ceased to exist, it raises the question, how did the rest of the world react? What did the world's major players think of Germany annexing Austria? So, as you'll know, Germany annexing Austria was expressly forbidden by the Treaty of Versailles. Given that Germany had just violated it, again, there must have been some reaction, right? Well, to begin, very few nations were comfortable with the annexation, and one of the most outspoken opponents was the French, who, along with Yugoslavia, Romania and Czechoslovakia, had formed what was known as the Little Entente, whose purpose was to deter Austro-German unification and Hungarian rearmament. In fact, the French had even guaranteed Austrian independence in partnership with Italy. Obviously, none of this worked, and so the French implemented the harshest measures known to man. They left an angry note. This was because it was frankly their only option. You see, Germany had already remilitarized the Rhineland on the Franco-German border, and so any use of force would be costly, and also Britain said it would not help in any aggressive war against Germany at the time. Speaking of Britain, their response was one of too late to do anything about it now. And whilst they also left an angry note, the Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain saw it as fait accompli and soon recognised the annexation. He knew that the only way to stop the annexation from becoming established was war, which they didn't see as worth it. And also, Britain had hoped that by allowing for German rearmament and also some territorial concessions, Germany would become a constructive international partner, but fun fact, no. And so what about the United States? Well, the US's position was similar to Britain's insofar as there was little that anyone could do about it without war, and the US didn't care enough to even conceive of that. As for Italy, Mussolini was in the process of repairing relations with Germany when Austria was absorbed, and the Italian response wasn't exactly a happy one. There had been an expectation in Rome that Austria would become a puppet state, and so when it was annexed by Germany, Mussolini wasn't exactly thrilled. However, he believed that there wasn't much that Italy could do about it, and also he saw Germany as the future leading power of Europe, and so better to be on the good side. In neighbouring Czechoslovakia, Switzerland and Yugoslavia, the response was one of troubles coming, and so all began the process of rearmament and preparing for some conflict. And Switzerland further reissued its commitment to neutrality, raising it to a level 4 neutral nation. Whereas in Poland, the response was one of concern, but ultimately its government felt that Germany wasn't a threat to Poland. This was due to the two having signed a non-aggression pact 4 years earlier, and those were unbreakable. One of the strongest responses came from the Soviet Union, who was still in discussion with Britain and France on creating an alliance. Stalin went to the League of Nations and asked for a collective response to the annexation. America didn't care, France felt that what it was doing would work, and Britain believed that this approach would push Germany out of the international community, and so nothing happened. I say that the USSR didn't have the strongest response because of Mexico. Mexico lodged a formal complaint within the League of Nations, the only nation to do so, and decried the annexation as an affront to international law. Now, Mexico itself was in a pretty bad state at the time and was a literal ocean away from Germany, and so everyone ignored them. Many nations had opposed the annexation of Austria, but the reality was that there was nothing any of them could do to stop it without war. And none of the major nations felt that that would be